Manchester United's season has been a remarkable human journey. The team had floundered under Jose Mourinho's tumultuous leadership, playing football fueled by fear, which left them marooned behind their Big Six rivals by December.
Manchester United are 11 points out of the top four and in turmoil.
Enter caretaker manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a 46-year-old Norwegian who arrived to save the day for United, as he had so many times before during a playing career in which he was one of the greatest super subs in club history.
And Solskjaer has won it! Manchester United have reached the promised land.
Expectations were limited. I sat down with Ole at the club's training ground in Carrington to uncover the secret behind the leadership style with which he's orchestrated one of the most remarkable mid-season turnarounds the Premier League has ever seen.
You've got World Cup winners here, you've got the best goalkeeper in the world here, so you just tell them to go out there and express that talent, and they did.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you were born in Kristiansund in 1973, a fish and oil town on the west coast of Norway. You learned the game on a sand and gravel pitch near your home, and you once said about your elite skill, "I wasn't born with it. I studied finishing even at school. Scoring goals was all I thought about." You know, the way you tell it, what you won, and you experienced so much success as a player, but it came from training, grinding, hard work.
Definitely. I wasn't born with anything. My dad was probably my biggest influence, because he was a very good wrestler, American or Roman, Greek or wrestling. Because when I was born, he had to retire because I took too much of his time, apparently. I've seen all his paper clips, and he was my idol. He told me about his work rate and what it did. And to become the best, or to become the best at something, you need to be, one, interested in it, two, you need to work at it. So I've loved football, I loved scoring goals, and I loved practicing to score goals.
You arrived as a relative unknown at Old Trafford from Norwegian club Molde in 1996, but quickly became the baby-faced assassin, a man who time and time again would be the club's saviour, stepping in when United needed you and delivering, most famously, in the 1999 treble-winning season. You were the hero who delivered the winner, a goal which has been called the most famous United strike of all time, deep into stoppage time in the 1999 Champions League final. You know, Ole, when I watched you as a player, was your mindset, no cause is ever lost, no game is over, no season lacks meaning?
More or less, because, you know, I was a sub quite a few times, came on 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, and that's my time to put 90 minutes of work in.
Manchester United might not have finished yet. Scholes. They haven't finished yet. He scored 4. It's an extraordinary feat for Solskjaer.
You know, that final, I was not very happy with the manager, because I'd had a good season, scored quite a few goals, but he put Teddy Sheringham on before me, who'd scored only 4 or 5 goals that season. I'd scored 16, 17, so I was angry, and that's in my character. I want to show him how he was wrong. It was never about, you know, anything else, but I need to make sure that he's happy with me. And I remember after we won the game, when he comes and holds around his arms around my shoulders, what I was thinking is, you deserve this, boss, but I like to show you that I should have played more. I love that part of, that's in my character. I don't need all the praise. I need that little bit of stick that you get really annoyed by. So I'm gonna show you. That's one of the things I want to see from my players as well.
You showed us time and time again. You spent 11 years at Old Trafford, 6 Premier League titles, 200+ appearances. And as you say, many of them were off the bench. You became known as a super sub. But as frustrating as that must have been as a player, all of that time you spent on the bench watching games, players, different coaches, Might that have been the perfect preparation, sitting on the bench later as a manager? Was that where you decided, you know, I'm going to be a coach?
I've always been mad about soccer, as you say, and I've always thought that I'd stay in the game, but I'd never thought I'd be a manager of a top club. I never thought I would be a player for a top club, but I always wanted to improve and be better and better and better. So when I was on the bench, two things it built is that character, mental strength, and it built my knowledge. And I had the best seat in the stadium, front seat. I could watch the game from this close away.
You weren't just watching the game, you were watching one of the masters. You had a persistent knee injury in the last phase of your career. Towards the end of it, you started to keep a book which documented Sir Alex Ferguson's methodologies. You said you wrote down his comments, how he treated the team after wins and losses. What would you say the most important lesson you learnt from watching Sir Alex with such a keen eye?
Oh, so many things that I learned from, but you always look forward and want to improve, and that hunger to win. You know, you win, you've got to win. It's about that winning mentality. You can't just be happy by, okay, I won it one time. When we won the treble in '99, yeah, he celebrated. He went to the dinner with us, maybe for an hour, then he went home. I think next morning he was already planning the next season. And that's just, pat yourself on the back, well done, and move on to the next one. That's one of the things that I've learned from his personality and mentality as a leader. But then again, I had him as a boss. The way he treated us, he knew every single one of us how to get the best out of you. He knew he was pissing me off, sorry, pardon my French, but I think he knew he got the best out of me by doing that. Some other players, he cajoled them more, and he didn't want to make them angry because he knew there was a different way of getting them to perform at their best. He knew exactly how to get the best out of me.
Wayne Rooney came on our show and said that Sir Alex always knew that to speak to Ronaldo or Nani, he had to shout at Wayne what he wanted Ronaldo or Nani to do.
Yeah, but it's true, because to get the best out of people, there were so many different things. So my diaries, I've written so many things, but it's all, most of it is in the head. And Nani got sent off once, and I'm in the dressing room, I'm sitting there waiting for what's he going to do now, what's he going to do, because we were winning the game comfortably. Then Nani got sent off, and he turns around and he gives him one of the biggest rollickings ever. Not because it's personal with him, but he wants the other 10 to dig him out. And they did. We won 3-1, I think. So he was a master of psychology.
He was a master of psychology, but there was something between you and this club that's also remarkable, even as a player, Ole. I mean, football fans feel different to players in terms of the club and their relationship to it. For many players, it's a career, it's a job. But watching you on Norwegian television after your official farewell testimonial was unbelievably moving.
Det ganske hardt. For dem, ja. Ja.
You break down in tears. You look like a man whose love for this club, Manchester United, Ole, it looks like it runs as deep for you as it does for the most passionate fan. Can you describe for me, in your own words, what this club, Manchester United, means to you?
You know, when you're in it, when you play, it becomes part of you, it becomes normal for you, it just becomes every day, and you have to have this character of this is me. You've got to have a strong character. And then suddenly, I remember, it's the only time I've cried on telly, definitely. And I just broke down.
Det var veldig viktig.
It's just one of them things that you just, how much have I experienced through this club, and with all the fantastic people that I've worked with. So it was just one of those things that it's the second time I've cried, I think. And
today's going to be the third.
No, I don't think so. The second time was, no, the first time. That was the second time. The first time was when I had my wedding speech. But when I was talking about my wife's nan. But Man United, yeah, and it does feel special to be here. And I want to be loyal to the club. I want to give everything I have for the club. And I did as a player, now I'm here as a manager. It's just what you do when they come calling.
You moved into coaching as soon as your playing days were finished. First as United forward coach, then reserve coach, before moving back to Molde to become manager in 2011. A team that had never won the Norwegian top flight in their now 100-plus year history. But under you, they savoured 2 successive title campaigns, 2011, 2012. You were headhunted by Cardiff City in 2014, mid-season.
6 days after Malky Mackay was sacked, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been confirmed as the new manager of Cardiff City.
I've always wanted to come back into the Premier League, of course. The passion of the fans, the passion in and around the area with a club that's going forward is, for me, a fantastic challenge.
But it was a disaster. The Bluebirds were relegated after finishing in 20th. You were sacked shortly afterwards, having lasted less than 9 months. When you left Cardiff, did any part of you think, my Premier League management career has just died?
Not just a part of me, everything. I didn't want to go back to England. I didn't want to come back to Premier League. It had been a very bad experience. But then, I'm born to be part of Man United, I have to say. It wasn't the right places for me.
There was wrong man, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, but now I'm at Man United, Cardiff's in the Premier League, so I think we're all happy.
You went back to Molde, and then last December 2018, United came calling.
So, the breaking news, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, along with Mike Phelan, now in charge at Manchester United.
One of Molde's own directors described the difference between the two clubs. He said, if United are an ocean liner, Molde are a rowing boat. Is that a fair way to describe the difference between the two clubs?
Oh, yeah, it's massive in the size and in the media attention. But then again, for me, I've called it molded Molde, because I've been there now for 6.5 years, more or less. And my model of how a football club should be run is Man United. How we should play is Man United. So on a smaller scale, on a rowing boat to a big, massive cruise ship, it's Man United. We wanted to play the same way. So I've been practicing until I came here, to be fair.
Who called you from United? Were you surprised?
Of course you're surprised when Ed Woodward's asking you to take charge and be in charge of the team. It's one of them. It takes you 2 seconds to think, am I ready? Yeah, because I do feel ready, and I did feel ready. And part of me says, it's a massive job, but it's home. It's a lot more comfortable coming here. Don't get me wrong, it's not a comfortable job, but it's where I feel at home. It's where I feel I get challenged by good players, demanding fans, fantastic fans, owners want to be successful, the whole club, we want to be successful. And that's part of me. When I was at Cardiff, it's like, want to avoid relegation. What's that about? That's not me at all. For me, it's about winning, and that's my 15 years before I went back to Norway here at Man United has been about challenging at the top.
Immediate yes, no doubts?
Yeah, no doubts whatsoever. Absolutely no chance.
And life works in remarkable ways.
Yeah, part of my reasoning behind saying yes to Cardiff was, yes, it's a challenge, but if I do well there, maybe Man United will call me. And that's how my strange mind works, because I want to be successful at a difficult place. I want to show everyone that I can do it despite of challenges. Bang, that didn't go to plan. But it made me so much stronger as a manager, as a human being, as a coach. And suddenly, bang, here you are.
Life works in remarkable ways, Ole. On Wednesday, December 19th, you were announced as Manchester United's caretaker manager. United, though, were off to their worst ever Premier League start through 17 games. Just 26 points, a chasmic 11 points off the top four. The team lacked creativity. They were defensively vulnerable. Worse, there was a soap opera worth of resentment and discontent, storylines of arguments, fallouts pouring out of the locker room. Phil Jones told the press they were a laughingstock. And Jose Mourinho, in his last press conference, said the players lacked intensity and physicality. But when you took over the club, what was your immediate assessment of the locker room culture when you arrived?
First thing we did was have a meeting about the players and set the expectations where they should be. Because they are in that dressing room for a reason. They're Man United players. Never ever forget that they're Man United players wearing this badge. And to be signed for Man United, you've got to have something special. And I think maybe some of them had lost that I'm part of Man United. You know that, because when you're not successful, it might be easy to think, to doubt yourself. That's human nature. But that's what we felt. We installed this to them, and you could feel, you can see, they sit up straighter, and it's like, started remembering why they signed for Man United, when they signed for Man United, and we just put the demands on them that it's up to you to show it.
Return to a team that has a 20 Ole legend banner up at Old Trafford in your honour. Your first game as Manchester United manager, as fate would have it, was at Cardiff. The game, I loved your comments. You said football is easy if you've got good players. United had the same players before you arrived. In your mind, what changed?
I think in their minds, quite a few things changed, because what we asked them to do was go and attack and go and show your skills, go and express yourself, because there was no fear. I'm here until the summer, and I'm not going to go back in the summer thinking, oh, I should have told them how good they are, how pleased I am to be a part of this. And I've admired these players from back home. My kids do admire these players. You've got World Cup winners here, you've got the best goalkeeper in the world here, so you just tell them to go out there and express that talent, and they did.
I want to understand some of the minutiae of the changes that you made, starting with Paul Pogba, who'd been an enigma at United. For the first half of the season, he played the role of underperforming, disgruntled misfit, alienated, marooned on the bench, with rumours of a move back to Juventus rumbling. But even before you took over, you publicly said you'd build a team around him.
Well, I would. Absolutely no doubt. I had him with David. He played with David. He played with Etsas Hussein, who's playing for me tomorrow. So that just shows how far the kids come. Paul is a fantastic kid, so hopefully we can build the team around him and keep him.
You had a relationship with him from your time here as reserve coach. What's the first thing you said to him, your first conversation, when you return this December?
Can't tell you.
Just hint. Just hint.
Just hint. No, you know, I think the first thing I said to him is, I congratulated him with the World Cup. He's a World Cup winner. Say, Paul, fantastic, I'm so happy for you, and I've coached a World Cup winner. So,
what did he say to you about how he felt about the club?
No, we didn't really speak about that. You know, let the past be the past, and let's now look forward, because we had to make sure that we perform to the standards that we expect. Don't dwell too much on the past.
Marcus Rashford, he'd been in and out of the team, a winger 1 minute, a striker the next, seemed to be playing with fear.
I actually met Marcus by coincidence, because I went over to see, I was over at the Young Boys game in the Champions League when we won in extra time, and I met Marcus and Jesse, Andreas Pereira, in the corridors behind, after the game, and he had 2 or 3 decent chances, Marcus, in that game, and I spoke to him. You know, you're snatching at things, now just settle down and relax, you'll be fine. A month later, I'm working with him, and then you just reiterate what you've said to him a month earlier, that calm down, son, you'll be fine, because you're getting into the positions. Now, too many chances are missed because you stress. You stress when you want to finish. I need to get rid of the ball. As a striker, you've got more time than you think, you know.
Marcus Rashford rolls Manchester United into a 2-goal lead. And they are on a roll.
Just sat down and spoke to him and just it's one of them as well. He started off, as you said earlier, free kick after 3 minutes, he scores. So that's a great start for us as a partnership.
Victor Lindelof. Defensively, United had just 2 clean sheets before you arrived. Lindelof had been a wreck. Jamie Carragher said he doesn't belong at this level.
I can't criticise Lindelof because it gets to the stage where I just think he's out of his depth and you actually feel a little bit sorry for him, really. He should not be playing at this level.
You've got him charging around like a world beater, throwing his body on the line. Changes have you made tactically at the back?
Well, I can't really talk too much about what the ins and outs were, the tactics before I came, but it's one of them. Victor, one of your strengths is carry out the ball from the back, pass the ball properly, and he's been allowed to do that. We've had a back four. He's had different partnerships, which I understand is difficult, but I think I've sat down with him and in my Norwegian and him in Sweden. It's nice to get that connection as well with players that we can speak our own language. Sometimes I think that makes him feel more comfortable as well. Victor's a fantastic boy. He's going to have a baby soon. He's going to be a man. Now it's showing on the pitch as well. He's maturing. It's not easy coming to England playing, because he's played in Portugal, he's played for Sweden, yeah. But Man United is a different level. It's a different demands on your shoulders. You've got all the fans in the world. Everything you do is scrutinised. But he's had a great mentor in Zlatan. So I'm sure Zlatan's helped him so much with his mentality.
This season?
When Zlatan was here, no, I think because, sometimes it takes time for all these things to process. I was lucky when I came to United. It gelled for me because I scored in my first game. So it was one of them things that you often run in. Victor's had a tough time to start with, but he's really come good now. And I've not done anything different to him, to what I do to everyone else. Just sit down and speak to them and try to get to know them.
Could you do what you've done at Manchester United at any other club? Or is it because of your history, your knowledge of Old Trafford tradition? That means it could only have happened here for you.
I'd like to believe that it could happen anywhere. But, but I think that, with the history I've got, with the connection I've got with the club, with the staff, I work with them, I've played with some of them. Suddenly now they call me boss. No, stop that, because I'm Ole. We've known each other for 15 years before. You don't start calling me Ole, boss now. So I think I don't think it would be possible for me to explain to anyone how much it means to play for that specific club as much as it is for Man United. I can relate to them how it does feel, what it means to play for this club. Of course, I played for the best manager in the world, and I've had so many good memories, and they should be happy that they are here. There's no better place to play football.
However you've done it, Ole, United now look like a completely different squad of players. I saw you interviewed by Gary Neville pre-match a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Give me your secret to success."
Yeah, he was at Valencia as well for a few months.
What's been the secret of this last 6 weeks? Obviously, I've not spoken to you since you come into the job, but the transformation's been absolutely incredible. What do you put it down to?
There's no secret. No secret to playing football. One, you've got to enjoy yourself. Two, you've got to have good players, and they've got to be able to express themselves. And, of course, when you've got good players, there are some tactical bits that we've done, but play forward, run forward, be clinical in front of goal. There's no secrets in football. Work hard. Stay together as a team. I think they've done all that the last 7 weeks. Now it starts. It's always on to the next one.
It wasn't simple for me at Valencia, and I tried that.
But is it that simple? Is it about the connection between joy and confidence?
And, yeah, of course, it's good players. It's good players. You've got to have good players too. But I think Gary had a few decent players at Valencia as well. I'm not sure if he had the Valencia DNA. But Gary, I love Gary. I used to sit next to him in the dressing room for 11 years. You love him, you hate him. His knowledge is fantastic. I'm sure if he really decided to be a manager, he'd be fantastic at it, but he doesn't have that passion. He doesn't. That's not what he wants to do.
What's fascinating is football is not a place for romance. It didn't work returning for Alan Shearer to Newcastle, where he's a hero. There are many Manchester United legends who dream about management. Phil Neville, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs. But it's you that came back, as you had as a player, a saviour when the club needed you. What is it about you that's made it work? You singular, Ole.
That's not my question to ask. It's a difficult to answer, sorry. I'm just being me. That's what I've always been as a player, as a coach, as a manager, as a dad. You've just got to take me as I am. Did a few things, I'm good at a few things. I try to hide the things I'm bad at by having complimentary staff around me.
Authenticity, just being yourself, that's the secret of your leadership style.
I think you get found out in whatever work of life you do if you try to be someone else. And I know that at times before in my career, say Cardiff, I had to try to be someone that I wasn't, because I was in an environment that I wasn't too comfortable, that I wasn't used to. This is an environment I'm used to. I'm used to this, so, and I've got nothing to lose.
I mean, it's fascinating, this environment, because in another interview I heard you say, when you've got players like we have with pace, Paul, Pogba, Martial, Sanchez, Romelu, Rashford, you said that's how we played with Andy Cole, Yorkie, Dwight York, Giggsy, Ryan Giggs and David Beckham down the sides. How much are you, a man who's part of the history of this club, remaking the model of the past in the present? I mean, it was, after all, the most dominant past in English football.
On from Beckham, Gary Neville, and Solskjaer on the spot.
I've got to say that we have an obligation, and it's, as a Man United player, we have to play a certain way. That's the way I've been brought up. That's the way the class of '92 with Becks and Giggsy, they've been brought up. We have to attack quickly. We have to entertain the fans. We have to at least make the effort. And you've got to sprint forward, run forward. It's the easiest thing in the world to be the best at. That's running and hard work. So,
and it can still work in modern football.
Yeah, if that, I truly believe my football philosophy is to win games of football, you've got to pass it forward, you've got to run forward, you've got to get inside the box. You don't score if you're outside. You've got to get in the box to score. You can see quite a few goals now. Paul scored his midfield runs, Ander Herrera against Chelsea. You've got to arrive in the box and you've got to make that effort. There's no reason why a Man United player shouldn't be the hardest working player in the world.
I mean, in a way, you've restored Manchester United's identity that they'd lost when Sir Alex Ferguson left. I mean, in your own words, what is that identity, Ole?
You should take risks, you should be brave, you should be confident, you should be humble, you should just give your all the time.
Ronaldo. Solskjaer! 1-0 Manchester United, and he made it look so simple. The dancing feet of Ronaldo, the finish from Solskjaer.
You want the ball, if you're winning 1-0, losing 1-0, there's so many players around in the world that you see that when they're winning 5-0, suddenly then they look like the best player in the world. If they're 1-0 down, they're suddenly nowhere to be seen. If you're 1-0 down at Man United, that's when your character comes out and you say, give us the ball, I'll create something here.
Job nowhere near completed. Giggs, Solskjaer trying to set himself for a shot. He can do that, and what a shot! And at the moment, the rescue package is one Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 1-1.
And that's what we're trying to provoke into the players. And
it's a winning identity, Ole. I mean, could you imagine United going 29 years without winning the title as Liverpool did? Could you even conceive of such a thing?
No, it couldn't be in our minds, but then you've got to be very aware and about the history in football, because if you just take your eye off the ball for just a little bit, you'll slip every single day away from that top where you should be. So it's about demanding that every day you come in, give your best standards. You've got to set the standards.
Which is what you talked about, Sir Alex, the tenacity of winning, taking nothing for granted. got to ask you, how has your identity with Sir Alex changed now that you're the manager?
Strange, isn't it, that you, when he comes and visits, he comes to my office, which used to be his office. But I've got so much respect for him. He's so knowledgeable. Of course, he's done his time, and there's no one better to ask for advice than him.
And what's the most important piece of advice he's given you since December?
It's like when I played for him, it never felt like work, because training, coming into this place every day was an enjoyment. You had to enjoy coming in. And that's maybe one of the first things he said to me. You've got to make sure the players enjoy coming in, and the staff, they've got to enjoy coming in. So it's got to be a place of where you feel you can express your attributes. If it's as a good human being, as a good footballer, we've got to be together here as one team.
It's all been a marvel to watch, I have to say. One of the most remarkable in-season, mid-season turnarounds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, your background as a manager, Molde, in the Norwegian top flight, relegation at Cardiff. It's not a typical super club manager resume. When you're driving home after winning games, are there moments even you feel shocked by your success? Even you have to pinch yourself?
No. Well, because I don't really reflect that much and think, well, where am I now? It's where I want to be. I always want to improve. I always want to give my best there and then. If it's Molde in Norway, or if it's when I coach my girls' team under 16s, I want to give everything I have there and then to them, because I've been so privileged in my life, football life, to have achieved what I did. And I love seeing people being successful.
You love seeing other people being successful. You have been part of successful team after successful team. Your own success. How does that feel? Can you describe the emotions you experience when the Stretford end break out with their Ole's at the wheel? Tell me, how good does it feel, Stone Roses chat?
Stone Roses, fantastic music, by the way, and the fans, best in the world. But you know, I've achieved so much in my footballing career, more than I ever dreamt of. So I'm never in the front of my thoughts at I need to be successful. That's just not me. I want the team to be successful and us to be successful, and I don't think about it, oh, well, look at me now, no chance.
You were once asked what it was like to hear your name sung by United fans when you were a player. And you said, I feel proud, but a bit embarrassed as well. I think to myself, why me, a little man from Kristiansand? A legend at Old Trafford. Can you believe now that, in your words, a little man from Kristiansand is the manager, like a returning hero from the Golden Age?
Well, that's what's happening today. I'm managing the team. That's how it is. It's just one of them things that you get on with it. You do your best. And
you almost dodge and deflect the question by just moving on to the next.
Yeah, why should I... Why should I get carried away? It's not the time to get excited or carried away. You can always do that when you finish a job, or reflect when you finish. Either you get the sack, or you do well, or whatever. You retire as a player, you get injured, you just sit back and reflect more then.
No time to reflect when there's games to win.
Always the next game. Always the most important game. There's nothing becomes history quicker than a game of football.
Ole, to your continued success, it has been a human wonder to watch you this season at Old Trafford. I wish you courage.
Thank you very, very much.